The SEAL unit was captured towards the center in shambles. Concrete structures. They were sealed off along the entire range they had been extracting to 3 sides. Our enemy fire. Radio crackled, desperately pinned down. No sniper support, waiting for an air evac, trying to maintain the position left. Moment ceased. A bullet-cut air destroyed the barrel of a machine gun position, followed by another blow, snapping into an abscess in his oncoming collarbone, advancing around the corner. A SEAL. Everything. Who's pushing our way out of here? Auxiliary radio responded. Eagle 5, extraction route. Opening shot by shot. Meet Maya Kepler, 31 years old. Official record states. Digital Extremes Assist. SEAL training program, hair jet. Black in a tight high ponytail. Built small, stow-eyed, just 5'3", usually wearing mechanic coveralls, the kind that always have gun oil on the hands. She is responsible for dusting and metal polish. Gang supports range calibration for practice snipers, translation, cleaning rifles, measuring deviation patterns, checking targets with surveillance drones, and maintaining equipment logs. A joke during the gear check by a SEAL trainee. Ouch. Our legendary barrel cleaner is back again. Sergeant Harlan Beck, training commander, would say to new recruits with a smirk. She could keep your weapon quite a while. Kanani, she shoots better than half you mafugu, and it will shatter your self-esteem so thoroughly everybody thought he was joking around. Yet during a windrift testing session, Maya recalibrated shooting angles using handwritten formulas. She had the results in 8 seconds flat. Questioning the trainee sniper had to do, "How did you get so good at mental math?" She just smiled quietly. I've shot through gunfire before the numbers become muscle memory, when lives depend on them, despite her obvious expertise. Delrin wanted Maya to stay there, but she always asked to be carried backstage. And this training never made it into an official demonstrations or performance evaluations, where her workshop was a haven of accuracy. Surrounded by disassembled rifle components, ballistic calculation charts covering every wall surface, a workbench. Top secret, nobody suspected Maya moved with mechanical efficiency that mentioned plenty of field experience when she cleaned rifle barrels. Her hands followed practice patterns developed under pressure when she tested optical equipment. Her breathing automatically synchronized with precision shooting rhythms. The newer soldiers, either way, I figured she was just help desk staff that just so happened to know weapon systems. They'd observe her zeroing each rifle one by one, calibrating complex scopes, and making microscopic adjustments to trigger mechanisms. What they didn't notice is how she placed herself subconsciously that has clear line of sight to all the ways in and out. The way her eyes always searched up and up and potential ambush points, that what type of vehicle are coming towards her. Before being seen by engine signatures during routine equipment inspections, Maya would examine rifle stocks, or a doctor contemplating a surgical tool could sense hairline fractures in metal parts, predict when springs would fail, and spot ammunition inconsistencies from across the room. Her most distinctive characteristic, only the utter no sound of her movement. She moved through the place like morning fog, standing beside people soundlessly. Photo, Danta. Even the best ops would have trouble with her there, no longer unseen, because it crept up on me that the lockers in her workroom corner remained a mystery to everyone. Basic equipment in one compartment of an open storage space for easy access. This one, however, was fixed shut forever. Only Maya knew the combination inside that locker lived not on any inventory, equipment lists, tools that suggested capabilities far beyond routine maintenance work. In the softening quietus between workouts, Maya would study satellite imagery and topographical maps outside of the textbooks and standard curriculum. She tapered the lines with her finger, calculating distances and angles in which there was no target practice. Her mathematical notebooks contained formulas exceeding basic ballistics by a wide amount. Wind speed calculations for various atmospheric conditions. Properly copying bullet drop for long-range shots. Environmental factors, because accuracy was meaningful only when it equaled life. But her most telling habit, her habit of subconsciously counting during workout, her lips would move with no words, tracking something invisible to observers. The repetition of 7 unique numbers, followed by mantra-like during later debriefing. One trainee recounted, "I took a terrible shot, and she didn't make fun of me. She just asked, 'Did the bullet come before your friend's last breath?' After hearing that, once I started shooting, my hands never shook again. The weight of that question revealed someone who understood that every shot carried consequences beyond hitting or missing targets." SEAL Team 8, mentioned above, is the team of Operation Iron Mantis to break into a research station and free hostages. Filmed in a war-struck wasteland, everything proceeded smoothly until they discovered the way they take out their extraction route is fully encircled. High-angle fires deployed by enemy forces had also shooting positions at every intersection along their planned withdrawal corridor. No sniper support available, no artillery backup, no immediate air extraction possible due to heavy cloud cover interfering with helicopter operations. One team member had already been injured. The firefight was intensifying rapidly. The team shot out an SOS for precision fire support to clear extraction pathway. Back at the base, Maya monitored the operation, and several days later, on September 14th, Toa finally managed to find a girl called Yasmin. Tracking the battlefield situation through technical surveillance, real-time intelligence feeds via the drones. The signal patterns of the enemy, she took note and recognized their positioning tactics, how the bad guys were regrouping before. She could tell where the enemy was moving to. This was the perfect kind of hallway between shots, a death trap setup she'd seen before in previous operations. She didn't even ask anyone for permission. Maya, it is still locked. She went in and just opened her locker and retrieved the DRS-12, a specialized electronic sniper rifle that had been custom modified for extreme precision work. The infrared sensing device that she hooked up, that she'd personally developed, and had been specifically modified for urban warfare racing there. With an all-terrain motorcycle for a quick reactionary force, Maya reached an elevated position northwest of the rubble, 3.7 kilometers. And this was the sole environment that could give away clearance through precision shooting. Given the urban terrain limitations, she activated her communications equipment. Eagle 5 online extraction pathway blocked at 4 verified locations. I'm clearing each point, shall disturb also. Formation, vigilantly uphold, and stand back. Ready. Go one more round was needed. That one dropped the northern sniper, who was following the path of the SEAL team. His second shot took out the machine gun nest that controlled the primary intersection from her concealed position. Maya began systematically combating those impediments to movement and travel. Every shot was not only measured for accuracy, but for maximum tactical effect on the overall extraction situation. She wasn't shooting randomly. She was conducting surgical removal of specific obstacles that prevented safe withdrawal. The enemy forces began experiencing coordination failures, already elimination from where they can overwatch individually Without overhead shot angle, their ambush strategy collapsed completely. Radio communications, greatest disarray, unveiled among antagonists and panic. But precision gunfire could not be traced to its point of origin that was systematically dismantling their tactical advantage. Maya used sequence as red markers to fire that maximized psychological impact while preserving ammunition as much as she could, put dead machines and threw them by extension crew, before anything else creating chaos and fear, rather than simply maximizing casualties thanks to her customized M16 handily getting the job done faster. The infrared sensor she invented for use in urban areas could identify body heat signatures. Over concrete debris and structural barriers, the SEAL team got each shot that they required at a perfect time, specific pathways cleared. The sequence was so perfect, it seemed rehearsed, but Maya was improvising a real-time battlefield review score. The Panther turret was open-topped, and from her elevated position, she could see the whole tactical situation. From her elevated position, every enemy movement, every SEAL encroach, every potential threat that could compromise the extraction through the corridors went the team, which minutes before had been deadly, exchange format. Celeste, Maya's cover fire not only eliminated threats, this made way for safe transition opportunities. She was brief and to the point in her replies. She provided essential information without unnecessary chatter that could compromise operational security pathway. Alpha clear move in 30 seconds, intersection. Bravo neutralized next quarter. Final open when ready. Advanced extraction point secured. The forces of the enemy sought to change their positions and establish new blocking positions, but Maya anticipated their movements, her previous experience with similar urban warfare scenarios. This helped her anticipate emerging threats. She began targeting potential positions before they were occupied. Break the enemy's will to come back effective ambush points. The Bud S extraction to the SEAL team was now a controlled withdrawal. Rather than a desperate escape, Overwatch in the time of Maya completely from the command center, Harlan Beck monitored the operation with growing amazement. The supporting fire needs to be exact and timed. Suggested someone with extensive operational experience in similar environments. This wasn't standard sniper support. Now that's some Tier 1 battlefield management right there. Something that was done by someone who knew a thing or two about urban warfare and packaged that needed practical experience within few years. The communication patterns, where the shots were fired at, who was firing when signaled that someone else had completed similar missions before under actual combat conditions. Beck looked over Maya's personnel file more carefully, searching for some faint clue as to why. Her apparent expertise in complex and got our commandos to reveal their tactics, a surviving SEAL would later testify during mission debriefing. I saw an enemy fighter aiming up to headshot my front runners, but right at that moment, and everything fell, like he'd been struck by invisible wind. Nobody saw to who fire. I felt that someone was sweeping our way for us, but I knew it. The extraction went on, step by step, with Maya providing continuous overwatch until all team members safely make it to the secure extraction point. Maya fired her first shot, punching through concrete debris for the shot to have been fired at the northerly marksman, who would then have copped it in the chest. With surgical precision, his face was now seen from an angle squeezing one knee of the machine gunner and disabling his weapon system. The corridor that every shot passed through cleared a level section of pathway. 0 holes, 0 misses, and no deviation from the intended impact points. The SEAL team screamed over radio someone's clearing our route as if they have some pre-written script for this operation. The radio in Maya's hand crackled quietly. Quantity, but I don't write scripts. I just remix fatal locations. 7, who couldn't extract successfully back at command headquarters. Harlan Beck began accessing the more intimate recesses of Maya's top-secret personnel file one day. A file appeared on his screen that was encrypted. PR code, Pathway 7R. Name, Maya Kepler. Previous unit classification, undetermined notes. Chaos extraction specialist last line, reflexes of the end layer cannot be retrieved. Then Maya was just an extraction cord that came and pulled him out from the bottom of a pile. Or a mission-designed sniper. The odds of a successful withdrawal that was less than 10%. These were suicide missions that conventional extraction methods could not handle. And only expert-level clearing the path would allow the rest of us to survive. During Operation Echo Valley, however, after Maya, it was the only one that managed to keep everyone at a distance. An extraction chute through impossible conditions, but due to a single bullet deflected by unexpected wind patterns. And 7 of her teammates could not get out and be free. Since that operation. On top of that, she had rejected every single official combat mission, accepting only technical support jobs that would prevent her from deploying to the field. But however, the 7 death points were still etched in her memory. Constantly practicing to ensure she knows she would make all of those at the big times again. The classified files explained the balance of her service record, the special task force that Maya had been a part of that specialized in impossible extractions from hostile territory. Princeton goes virtual. Her official title was Pathway Guardian, responsible for creating and maintaining protected paths through hostile zones after every other extraction process has went wrong. The unit operated in situations where conventional military doctrine suggested complete mission abandonment. They were deployed when commanders needed to extract personnel from scenarios that appeared tactically hopeless, long-range position, Maya. Precision shooting to eliminate threats that blocked safe withdrawal routes at the other end of absurd ranges, and systematically clear pathways through hostile territory, and no one had ever before been as successful. Over 47 extraction operations, she had maintained safe corridors for successful withdrawal in all but one mission. And that single failure haunted her so completely. Operation Echo Valley had involved extracting a reconnaissance from a team so far behind enemy lines, Maya had established overwatch over more than a 2-mile stretch, providing pathway clearance. While the team made way to the exfil point, all went well until the last hallway. Her shot was just a few inches off course due to an unexpected gust of wind. The bullet that would have killed a crouching sniper instead struck concrete tips off the enemy to where their team is. In the resulting firefight, 7 team members were killed. While Maya watched helplessly from her distant position, she could see everything happening, however, was too distant to provide accurate close support. Well, the investigation found that the director was no longer responsible for his death, as environmental factors greater than that which humans can control were responsible for the loss of mission. Instead, Maya was exonerated and recommended for commendation. Instead, she immediately requested a lateral transfer to non-combat duties and refused all decorations related to her service record. Harlan Beck studied the psychological evaluation reports. From that period, Maya had mostly blamed herself for the loss of life. Despite official findings that absolved her of responsibility, 7 death positions were a part of her unconscious personality, where her teammates had fallen, taking this idea to the next level, becoming obsessive with making sure it has 100% precision at such certain ranges and angles, the technical stuff that she would do in her training/sparring center wasn't just equipment maintenance. It was continuous preparation for situations where her shooting could be a matter of life and death. For others, she tested every rifle she had calibrated versus the ballistic parameters above Echo Valley. Every scope adjustment was verified against the environmental conditions, which is what led to her imperative devalidation. Maya had transformed her guilt-it against a state of continuous defense, and guaranteed that if she was ever in the same situation, she would not fail again. John Beck watched video of operations in play. The trail's trajectory was the same as Maya fired. Paced with the clearance protocols of her prior unit, every shot was placed to create maximum safe quarter, while minimizing enemy response capability. But there was something different about her current performance than her historical 34% clip. Records indicated the guilt from letting herself down before drove her to accuracy that beyond her considerable abilities, Maya approached this extraction operation, attending to my now work in the way I might offer a balm for my wounded soul. Each empty lane was a comp partner. It took all she had just to survive. Echo Valley? Her radio communications spoke to the emotional burden she held. Intersection secured. This corridor kills no friends. Pathway too clear. Reconstructed traffic. Data summary. Moving people safely through this area. Final approach. Protected all team members extract successfully. So every confirmation wasn't merely tactical reporting. Maya, in as subtle a way as she could make it, was preparing for what this operation, any more than her last one had ended. Harlan realized Maya wasn't merely covering up the fact that she is a warrior with GC Session 0 SAS. What she had been gearing up for with her full armor on. This type of situation, hoping for an opportunity to prove. Even if that her at Echo Valley wanders the errors do not equal her. Jisuantajeyang Yibing Yo. An anomaly, but not a flaw. The 7 numbers during training exercises she counted silently were range calculations for the places where her crew were slain, because those were the shots she was practicing over and over again, ensuring muscle memory, which could resist regardless of the environmental circumstances. Comment 7 pathways 0 mistakes if you believe. Even then, there are some who do not seek destruction, but to keep anyone from slipping into what once swallowed them whole. To guiltless survivor. Act 3. Maya, from guilty survivor kimono to Zhao Wu kimono act. Precision Guardian, PGR, voted heaven. Form of professional redemption, serving in the military after he took flight. Maya refuted every honor and credited for her work ordered by command. She just went home. Methodically cleaned her rifle and locked it back up in the storage container that had been put there for such a purpose. But from that day forward, the clean quarter protocol was included in default protocol. Sealed training curriculum across all facilities. Maya turned down the adjunct role and declined any official teaching assignments. However, every training session began that she created from stock drone footage of her pathway clearance shots. During the Iron Mantis operation, I wonder a young SEAL trainee mused in tactical analysis. But how did she know to stop just there? Before this shot, which I took 12 seconds later, Harlan answered with newfound respect. She wasn't calculating timing. It was the pulse to which she had lived through, of the same rhythm where Maya had been on Overwatch duty, was dubbed the Silent Ridge, system-wide, as no shots were fired there. only the hum of lives being granted safe passage. The training philosophy evolved from aggressive elimination tactics to protective pathway management, helps teach our students when to shoot, not as destroying enemies, but as creating opportunities so that our forces, who were friendly with each other, could move forward without hitting one another. Maya, tactical doctrine on all inflection points. Rather than emphasizing enemy body count trainees, learn to prioritize maximum friendly survival through precise threat neutralization. Her equations to clear the paths. Math were studied and incorporated into advanced tactical planning courses. The calculations, something she crafted through trial and error, became standardized methodology for extraction operations. It's psychological, but the most important change was small. It was a competitive environment, which usually carried across from our departments at work. Special operations training was spoken and heard over by Maya's trailblazing act of universal professionalism. Students realized that the hardest operators were not even top fraggers, but the people that brought us all home safely were. It was an informally pilgrimage spot in Maya's little studio. For those that actually take tactical shooting seriously, those are the best times trainees would come up for a visit and have been looking forward to seeing her systematic way of organizing gear. Preparation. They had seen how she tried parts as though lives hinged on flawless operation, because in her experience, the older instructors always did. It began sharing stories of legendary pathway guardians from previous conflicts. Tales of snipers that came in the form of the extraction I needed to oppose, who cleared corridors through seemingly impenetrable enemy positions. They realized that these were not individual stories. They were seasoned chapters from the pages of specialists like the Verstanding Guard, like Maya chose to be an angel of mercy. For their fellow warriors, training exercises incorporated pathway clearance scenarios imagined and plotted from experiences Maya had actually been through. Hundreds of students threatened to shoot more than just targets, but for tactical effect, and gave members work life. The psychological aspects of precision shooting under pressure from the standard curriculum trainees discovered that sometimes the most important shot could convince enemies to take cover, purchasing friendly road, as proven by milliseconds. She went beyond shooting tricks. She lent her influence to sources. To overall tactical philosophy, that facility's training slogan changed from destroy down crawler and proceed hold, extract, and advance to support. Nobody announced this change officially. It just showed up in the strike training materials and programmatic signage as though it had always been.